For 70 years, the pattern was clear and easy. The American president asks for something. The Canadian prime minister grumbles, delays, perhaps requests a small kindness, and then in the end, they give in. They always give in because they must. Because when you sleep next to a huge elephant, you do not poke it. You just hope it does not roll over on you. But yesterday, the elephant rolled over. Donald Trump tried to trap Canada. He held a gun to the head of Canada's economy. He demanded complete surrender on trade, on energy, and on the border. He believed it was finished before it even began. But then something that seemed impossible took place. Mark Carney did not flinch. He did not yell. He did not go on social media and write in big capital letters. He just said no. And that quiet, that firm no, it is now very loud inside the White House. We are seeing a change in the world order right now as it happens. You are seeing the exact moment when the United States understood that bullying only succeeds if the other person feels afraid. And at this moment, Canada does not feel afraid. Canada is thinking carefully. In the next 40 minutes, I will explain step by step what happened in the past 24 hours. I will show you the proof, the secret papers that got out, the trade figures, and the fear moving through American supply chains today. Because while Trump keeps making loud sounds, Carney is quietly creating history. And if you believe this is only about milk or wood or steel, you are not seeing the full story. This is about who truly has the power in North America. And for the first time in 100 years, it might not be the person in the Oval Office. Get ready. The old rules have just changed. Let us remove all the extra noise and examine the clear timeline. Because if you only watch regular news channels, you hear about arguments, you hear about talks. No, this is not a talk. This is a crash. 3 days ago, the Trump White House sent a memorandum of understanding to Ottawa. That is fancy diplomatic language for a list of strong requests. But these were not usual requests. This was not about changing dairy prices or speeding up passport checks. This was a document that asked for surrender. People in Washington say the requests included a complete rewrite of the USMCA energy section, giving the U.S. full access to Canadian water power and oil at prices lower than normal market prices. It asked Canada to drop its digital services tax right away. And the biggest part, it asked Canada to follow Washington's wishes completely on foreign policy about China. The warning with this paper was very direct. If Canada did not sign in 48 hours, Trump would put a 25% tariff on every single thing crossing the northern border. Cars, oil, food, all of it. Normally, this is when the Canadian Prime Minister flies to Washington, shakes hands, smiles for pictures, and gives up a small piece of control to keep things peaceful. That is the usual plan. But Mark Carney destroyed that plan. Yesterday afternoon, instead of going to Washington, Carney held a press conference in Ottawa. He did not seem nervous. He did not seem mad. He looked like a bank leader studying a poor report. He walked to the microphone and he did not even mention Trump's name. He simply stated that Canada would not sign the memorandum. He said that Canada's resources belong to Canadians. And then he delivered the big news. He said that if the U.S. puts on tariffs, Canada will not only fight back, Canada will right away use Clause 14. We will explain what Clause 14 means soon and why it made traders on Wall Street drop their coffee in surprise. But you need to feel the atmosphere in that room. This was not just show for politics. This was a leader telling a bully, go ahead and try. Trump's answer came fast. He went on his social media site. He called Carney weak. He called him a globalist bad person. He said he would build a wall on the northern border. He yelled about neighbors who show no thanks. But here is the key about yelling. It only matters if people pay attention. And while Trump was yelling, Carney was making phone calls to the European Union. He was speaking with Mexico. He was speaking with governors in Michigan and New York who are very worried about losing trade with Canada. What happened yesterday was not only turning down a trade agreement, it was turning down the whole idea that the United States controls Canada. It was a statement of freedom in today's economic world. And the most frightening thing for Trump is that he does not know his next move. He has a hammer, he sees a nail, but the nail stood up and walked off. You may be thinking, okay, leaders talk tough often. What makes this different? I am happy you asked because we have the proof. We have the numbers that show this is not empty words. This is a fight over money, and Canada came with stronger tools. Let us look at proof number one, the energy system. You hear Trump talk a lot about energy control. He loves that phrase. Drill more, oil, gas. He thinks America stands alone. But look at this map. New York City, Boston, the whole Northeast area. Do you know where a large part of their electricity comes from? It comes from Hydro-Québec. It comes from the north. When Carney said no to those requests, he was not only guarding Canadian honor, he was guarding the switch that keeps lights shining on Broadway. The secret memo suggests Trump wanted fixed low prices for that power. Carney said no. The proof. Check the energy futures market this morning. The price of electricity futures in the Northeast jumped 14% in just 2 hours. Why? Because the market sees the real situation. If Trump begins a trade war, Canada does not need to launch an attack. They just need to work on a power line for maintenance. They just need to check export amounts. And suddenly, New York loses power. Proof number two, the car industry fear. The American car business is not only American, it is North American. One car piece can cross the US-Canada border up to 7 times before the car is complete. It is like a tightly woven rope. You cannot cut it without causing big damage. When Trump threatened the 25% tariff, he thought he was harming Canada. But look at this letter from the governor of Michigan. It became public last night. It is sent to the White House. It does not say, "Great work, Mr. President." It says, quote, "If you go ahead with these tariffs, 3 big assembly plants in my state will close in 4 days. 4 days. That is the time frame. That is the proof. Carney understands this. He knows that Trump's supporters, the factory workers in the Midwest, will lose jobs first if the supply chain falls apart. Carney is not pointing a gun at Canada's head. He is showing that Trump is pointing a gun at his own foot. Proof number 3, the Clause 14 question. I talked about Clause 14 before. People are searching for it online today. It is a special hidden rule in the trade deal about non-market countries and important resource planning. In short, it lets a country change where it sends key minerals to other friendly nations if safety is at risk. Carney did not just refuse. He showed that Canada has some of the biggest supplies of lithium, cobalt, and uranium on Earth. These are things needed for missiles, for electric cars, for tomorrow. By using this clause, he is getting ready legally to sell those resources to Europe and Japan instead of the United States. That is the strongest proof. He is telling the Pentagon, you want to play rough? Okay. We will sell the batteries for your tanks to Germany. This is not fake. You can watch the mining companies' stocks move. Canadian mining companies with deals in Europe rose 8% this morning. The market trusts Carney. They do not trust Trump. And last, proof number 4, the quiet from allies. Notice who is not backing Trump now. The UK says nothing. France stays silent. Germany stays silent. Normally, friends hurry to make peace, but they are observing. They are waiting. They know that if Carney succeeds, it ends the old fear. It shows you can face the bully and keep going. The world watches the proof stack up on Trump's desk, and for the first time, the price is too much for him to handle. To see why this is occurring, you must understand Donald Trump's way of thinking. And I do not say that to be mean. I say it as careful thinking. Trump works with an idea of the strongest pressure. He believes if you make the threat large enough, noisy enough, and frightening enough, the other side will break. It worked on building workers in the 1980s. It worked on some weak Republican leaders. It worked on countries with no choices. But here is why he is losing hold of this now. He is easy to predict. Carney knows what Trump will do before it happens. It is like chess against someone who only moves the queen. It looks strong, yes, but once you block the queen, the game ends. Trump is losing hold because his power is not real. He thinks the U.S. economy is the only place to play. 10 years ago, he might have been correct. But now, Canada has free trade deals with the European Union. Canada has the CPTPP deal with Asia. Canada is the only G7 country with free trade links to every other G7 country. Carney spent his whole career making these connections. He did not make them for no reason. He made them exactly for this time. Trump is yelling through a loudspeaker, thinking he scares Canadians. But Canadians are putting on headphones to block noise and turning to Brussels, turning to Tokyo. And you can see the fear growing in the White House. Look at the posts. They are becoming wilder. First tariffs, then closing the border, then punishments. When a leader switches the threat 3 times in 6 hours, that is not power. That is struggling. That is a man seeing the steering wheel does nothing to the car. He is also losing hold over his own group. Senators from states near the border are very upset. Their phones keep ringing from farmers who sell corn to Canada, from companies that need Canadian wood. They tell Trump, "Stop. You will destroy us." Trump hates hearing stop. He hates hearing he is wrong, so he pushes harder. He yells more, but the louder he gets, the more alone he appears. He tries to use fear, but fear is like money. And now, because of high prices, because of disorder, the worth of Trump's fear is falling fast. People do not fear his posts anymore. They are just tired of them. And Carney is counting on that tiredness. He is counting on the American people and business leaders being fed up with the mess. He is counting on standing calm so Trump wears himself out. It is like the bullfighter's plan. You do not fight the bull. You let the bull charge past. And right now, Trump is running fast at a red cloth, not seeing the drop right behind it. Let us talk about Mark Carney. This is not about praising leaders too much. Leaders work for the people, but you must admire real ability when it shows. Past Canadian prime ministers tried to be friends with Trump. They tried to win him over. They tried to act like a kind neighbor. Justin Trudeau tried being friendly, then tried being calm. It helped for a while until it stopped. Carney is trying something totally new. He is not playing regular politics. He is playing money and trade. Mark Carney was once head of the Bank of England. He was once head of the Bank of Canada. He knows how global money systems work better than almost anyone alive. He knows where cash moves. He knows the hidden problems in bond markets. When he sees Trump, he does not see a scary figure. He sees a troubled item. He sees a danger of upas and downs. His action is different because it touches the whole system. He is not only saying no to a trade deal, he is turning on a web of connections. Look at his words. He does not say things like insult or unfair. He says things like stability, certainty, following rules. Why? Because those are words Wall Street likes. Those are words company leaders like. By acting like the grown-up person, he makes Trump seem like the danger. He is basically telling investors around the world, if you invest in America, a tweet at 3 a.m. could destroy it. If you invest in Canada, it is secure. We keep the rules. He is using calm to fight. He is turning Canada into the safe place in a world that Trump sets on fire. This is a plan for the long run. Trump thinks in short news days. Carney thinks in long-term interest rates over 10 years. And the smart part of this plan is that it is quiet. It does not need big crowds. It does not need special hats. It just needs skill and good work. He is creating a group of willing partners. He signals to Europe that Canada stands with them. He signals to American governors that Canada is their friend. Your president is the issue. It is a splitting plan. He is putting space between Donald Trump and the rest of the United States. He is betting that America is more than one person. And he is betting Canada can handle the rough time until Trump fails. It is dangerous, very dangerous. If Trump really puts the 25% tariffs, Canada will feel pain. Prices will rise in Toronto and Vancouver. People will struggle. Carney knows this, but he also knows giving up is worse. He knows if he gives in now, Trump will ask for more next month. He has chosen that fighting costs a lot, but giving up costs forever. That is true leadership. That is the difference. So why should this matter to you? Maybe you live in Ohio, maybe you live in Texas, maybe you live in Alberta or London. Why does this fight touch your daily life? Because this is not only a trade argument. This is the end of the old deal after World War II. For 80 years, the agreement was that the U.S. leads and others get wealthy by following. That agreement is finished. Trump ended it, and Carney is putting it in the ground. If this break keeps going, here is what it means for you. First, prices. If the border gets harder, if tariffs start, your food shopping bill changes fast, not by pennies, by dollars. Fresh fruits and vegetables in winter that travel across borders, cars, home items, wood for building. Prices were already high. This would make high prices a real emergency. Second, jobs. Millions of jobs on both sides depend on goods moving easily. If you work in factories, shipping, or stores, you are right in this fight. But the largest effect is about trust. For many years, Canada was the quiet neighbor, the dependable friend. If the U.S. loses Canada, it stands truly alone. Picture a world where the United States must bargain with Canada like an enemy. Picture needing papers to visit Montreal. Picture Canadian oil going to China instead of Texas factories. That makes America less strong. It makes America less rich. And it makes the whole world riskier. Carney's no is like a mirror. He holds it to America and says, see what you have turned into. Is this what you choose? If you are American and watching, you need to know your president is risking your money safety for political wins. He treats your nearest friend like a foe and pushes them toward your competitors. And if you are Canadian, this is your big test. This is when you learn if your country is truly free or just follows orders. Carney made the choice. Now you live with the result. This redraws the map. We see a North America that is split, doubtful, and building defenses. The open border, the longest calm border ever. That idea is fading before our eyes. And once lost, you cannot vote it back. There was one moment yesterday that showed it all. It was not the speech. It was not the post. It was a picture at the Peace Bridge between Buffalo and Fort Erie. The driver is American. The gate is Canadian. And for the first time ever, the gate was closed just for a normal check, they claimed. But the trucks lined up behind stretched 3 miles. That picture is what comes next. If this is not solved, that driver could be you, stuck, waiting, paying for a pride fight in Washington. So what comes next? Let us look at the possible paths. Path A, Trump backs down. This is the most likely, though he will never admit backing down. Trump sees stocks falling hard. He sees his supporters yelling. He says it is a big win, says Canada gave a small thing they already gave years ago, and he drops the tariff idea. He calls it success and moves forward. Carney stays quiet, agrees quietly, and gets ready for the next time. Path B, things get worse. Trump's pride wins. He puts the tariffs on 25%. Canada fights back at once. The border stops. The U.S. goes into a slowdown in 90 days. Prices jump high. Republicans get scared and try to stop him, but the harm is already there. This is the destroy everything path. Path C, the slow split. This is the most interesting. Tariffs stay but smaller. Canada speeds up, turning to Europe and Asia. Over 5 years, the North American economy separates. The U.S. gets more alone, and Canada grows closer to London and Berlin than Washington. A lasting change. Carney prepares for Path C. He hopes for Path A, but he is set for Path B. This is when leaders usually make peace. But Trump does not do peace, and Carney does not do giving in. So we wait in that truck cab, watching snowfall, waiting to see if the gate lifts. The world is changing. Old maps no longer fit. Donald Trump thought he could force the world by shouting. He thought he could make Canada kneel just by getting loud. But Mark Carney reminded him of a very old, very basic rule in politics. Your power equals your choices. And right now, Canada has choices. America is losing choices. This is not only a trade tale, it is a tale about respect. It is a tale about what happens when you push a friend too hard. Carney did not shout. He made ignoring Canada very expensive, and now Trump must choose. Does he want a trade fight he could lose or a calm he cannot boast about? I want to hear your thoughts. Is Carney making a smart play, or is he risking too much against a strong force that could hurt Canada's economy badly? Is Trump powerful, or is he showing weakness? This is real history. Do not just look at it, really get it. Share your view in the comments. I read them all. And if you want to know what happens when markets start on Monday, if you want news before regular channels figure out the story, make sure you subscribe. Turn on alerts because the gate is closed and we are waiting for what comes next.